So yeah, I went to Toronto to see my favorite band of all time, Oasis. I had to buy the ticket secondhand. They were obnoxiously expensive, mostly because of StubHub's fees they add on to it. That was very annoying. Makes no sense why fees would be $100, but I digress. I went and I thought it was at Rogers Center, which makes sense because that's right there in the heart of Toronto. And I was checking in at my hotel, which, side note, just something I want to bitch about. The thing with two heads, they always say they call it a get off my lawn, and then they'll, talk about things that they hate. I cannot stand the fact that you need a credit card to check into a hotel. Doesn't matter
Oh, they
if
say it's for some kind of liability or something, but it makes
Yeah,
absolutely
it's
no
for
sense.
like insurance. They charge you and then they give the money back to you, but it's in case you steal something or damage something or whatever. And that's fine. I understand. But why won't you take cash? Like, I'll give you cash. Just give it back to me tomorrow.
A deposit, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a security deposit, I guess. So I give you cash, you give it back to me. Done deal. But I was expecting that might be an issue because when I went there in 2017, that was an issue. They wouldn't take cash. And I'm like, I don't have any cards. Well, now I do. I have debit cards though, right? I thought that would work. Why wouldn't it work? I'm like, I have the money on the debit card. Just charge the debit card. It's got to be a credit card. I don't have a credit card.
Yeah, I see where this is going. See why that could be ultimately be an issue.
And so I'm like, well, I guess I'll get it a hold of my mom and maybe she can give me the number to her card over the phone or something. And so I call my mom and I hand them the phone so they can talk to her directly. And they're like, "Oh, sorry, ma'am. We can't we can't take that kind of information over the phone." It's like you know that I was calling her. You know that this was the information I was seeking.
Yeah, they just didn't want to do it.
So what I had to do, because I already had paid for the room, and it's like if you want to do a security deposit, do it then when I paid for the room. Does that not just make sense? I guess not, because whatever. So long story short, and it was a long time, and I was already cutting it close before the concert began, but whatever. Not super close, but I wanted to get there early, at least 40 minutes early, just to be safe. But this whole excursion that I was not expecting. But basically, I was able to input the numbers manually into the keypad, and that worked. So then I got into the room, I set my stuff down, and immediately I was on my way. But one good thing came from talking to the lady at the front desk, and that she said, like, "Oh, you're here for the Oasis concert? We just had a group of people that just left and went there." Um, she's like, where are you headed to? And I'm like, I think it's Rogers Center. And she's like, are you sure it's Rogers Center or is it Rogers Stadium? And I'm like, I don't know what Rogers Stadium is. And she's like, it might be. And I'm like, okay, well, how much of a difference is that? And she's like, it's like a 40-minute difference
Shit.
from one to the next. And it's like, okay, great. So I looked it up. The ticket said Rogers Stadium. So it was not where I thought it was.
She
So she
saved your
saved me
ass.
on that. And she's like, are you gonna take the subway in? And I'm like, well, I plan on just driving. And she's like, no, 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 that's much too far. Didn't you say the concert was at 7:30? And I'm like, yeah. It's like it's 6 right now as I'm talking to her. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, no, 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 too far. And I'm like, according to my phone, it's like 25 minutes away. And she's like, really? Like she lives there and she didn't even know. And she put her phone, she's like, oh yeah, 28 minutes. And I'm like, she's like, I guess you could drive. And I'm like, yeah,
Uh-huh.
guess I could. So I did. And this stadium is a temporary stadium that they basically just dropped in the middle of a field. Like the area they put it into was not prepared for this amount of traffic. It's not built for this amount of traffic. It was
Woodstock.
insane. I mean, this stadium is for like the World Cup, right? And when the World Cup is finished, it's believed that the stadium will be torn down, but the area of the stadium will be turned into something permanent for soccer or something, like in the long run. But that's not what it is right now. And when I started to get into the area of this place, I mean, you have to imagine there are like 15,000 people in attendance. So that's the kind of traffic we're dealing with at the moment, on top of normal
Sure.
Toronto traffic. And the roadways are just two lanes. So just one way and the opposite way. That's it. And that's accommodating
Sounds
for
like
all this traffic.
that sounds
I
like
was
congestion up the ass.
I was stuck in bumper to bumper traffic for such an obnoxious amount of time. I was so angry. And my Waze app kept saying, "You've arrived." And I'm like, "What do you mean I've arrived?" It's literally there's a fence that you want me to like cut through the fence and then start walking to the stadium. Like this, I've arrived nowhere. And so then I was off on my own without Waze now, and I had to figure it out. And there's
In a
no
foreign
signs or
country.
anything because this thing's temporary. And so finally, I get onto the road that it looks like it's on, and I see one spot that says parking, and I'm like, okay, like I'm sure there's more, but I'm just gonna go for this one. And so I went for it, and they were like $30. And I'm like, okay, he could have said 50, and I'd be like, okay. I said, how long is the walk from here? Right? And I was really just talking about like the front gate. That's important. And he's like, about 12 minutes or so, 12, 14 minutes. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, they certainly didn't put a lot of thought into this area when they built this stadium here, did they? And he's like, no, they certainly did not. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, basically, you just go and you try to pull down as far as you possibly can into a spot and then walk from there. So I did. And yeah, the walk from my car to the gate of the property was probably 12 minutes. But then to get from the gate up to the stadium was like a 2.5 mile walk through just dirt and mud and gravel. And sure, you could take one of the rickshaws because they had rickshaws there that were guys on bikes playing Oasis music. No joke. And
That's
I'm like,
pretty
well, I'm not gonna
fitting.
do that though. Like I'm able-bodied-ish and I can see the stadium. And so I mean it took forever. Now imagine the way out was that same distance down gravel dirt roads, but now they keep on stopping us every 5 minutes because they're afraid of people getting trampled. Because there was so many people. I showed you the
Yeah,
video.
the video
There's
is like a
so
literal
many
stampede
people. I
almost.
mean, you are just, it's like ants. It literally looks like
Filing all
ants.
in.
And so they had to keep stopping us. So leaving, I mean, leaving probably took every bit of an hour and a half to 2 hours. So, I mean, insane.
Yeah, everything but the concert sounds like an absolutely
Insane.
miserable experience.
It was not fun. I mean, and then inside of the concert itself, I mean, fun environment, like I stood in the line for the t-shirts, that was a little while, but there was an opening act. It was Cage the Elephant.
That's cool.
I'm sure I would have liked to have listened to him, but also I had all this other stuff to do, so whatever. Um, there was a Ferris wheel, an Oasis Ferris wheel that was cool. Obviously, the giant poster that I took a picture in front of. It was like my entire life has led to this moment. I think that's what I said too. So that was cool. The concert itself was fun. Um, I definitely would not have changed going if I could. Like if I could reverse time and I'm like, I'm just gonna skip it. That's not an option because I don't know if I'm ever gonna get this opportunity again. I never thought they were ever gonna get back together to begin with. They've been broken up since 2009. So I had to do this. And I had a very unoptimal, if that's the word, place to stand, unfortunately. I
For
mean,
the
I was in general
entirety.
admission. I
Oh,
got
yeah.
screwed around a little bit because I had to go to the bathroom and there were people that were just pissing on a wall.
You gotta go up to the. Oh, bugger. Yes! Isn't this the most fascinating? It's a piss. Piss wall. Don't go to the piss wall. Fuck.
Apparently
Did
that was legal or something. I don't know, but I didn't want to find out the hard way, so I stood in line for like the porta potties. Um, that was more time awaiting, and so finally, when I actually walked into the area of the stadium to stand, it had already filled out pretty good. So where I ended up standing was behind the camera person. There was a person that was on the camera for like the big screens. So my view was kind of obstructed. And also the stage was so far away, which I'm not used to. I go to concerts relatively often, and I usually get spots that are much better than this, but I also don't go to concerts this big either. One of the biggest concerts I've ever been to, by far, except for maybe Queen and Adam Lambert at the Palace, which that was probably bigger, but this is a close second. So, they sounded great. That was awesome. I mean, their set list was fantastic. They played for like 2 hours. The way the stars started, the way the show started gave me chills because it was like they're playing the song. It's called "Fucking in the Bushes." Um, it's a song that doesn't have any lyrics to it, but it's just kind of like like a cool, like just catchy, like rock beat. And up on the screens, they're showing all the articles flashing on the screen, all the article headlines of what everybody said around the entire world when they heard Oasis was getting back together.
That's cool.
So it was like, flashing all these headlines that were like, oh my God, what? Really? They're getting back, just all those headlines. And I'm getting chills just talking about it. Like, that's how stupid I am. But, like, seriously, it was so, so cool. And then the visuals they had throughout the entire show was super awesome. All of that. There's a lot of drunk, belligerent people around. Apparently, it's a thing now where people, they take their beer and they throw it upwards, and so it showers the crowd with beer.
That's fucking
And
disgusting,
I
but
saw this
whatever, continue.
multiple times, and I kept on getting shocked by it because I'm like, isn't that expensive? Didn't you pay like $10 for that? What are you doing? People smoking weed like crazy. Uh, what I thought was funny was that there was an announcement as I was walking into the stadium that was like, "Thank you for help keeping Rogers Stadium a smoke-free environment." While there's people smoking cigarettes and smoking weed all over the place, and I'm like, hmm,
Hmm.
I don't think
Sounds like
so.
Freedom Hill.
It was crazy. It was crazy. But I met some friends on the way out because how do you not when you're standing with the same people for 2 hours straight?
Sure.
And so that was fun. Um, and so I asked them about the beer throwing thing. I'm like, what's up with that? And they're like, we don't know. It's something that started like recently, and it's like a TikTok trend or something,
Cancer.
because I've never seen it before.
Absolute
And
cancer.
luckily, I was not in any of the way of that getting sprayed upon me. So, I would have been though if I was in a better spot.
That's what she
So,
said.
yeah. So I guess that's a good part of it. There's also a barricade that was next to me that I was able to lean on the entire time, and people could not shove me past the barricade. So that
No,
was
they just
good as
pushed you
well.
up against it, is what happened. They couldn't put you
Yes,
through it, but you were shoved against it.
which was fine. They could only push me so far because people are very pushy at concerts. They'll push you all over the place, and when they can't physically push you any further, then they don't. So that was nice. Because at Marilyn Manson, people were real pushy. It was a whatever. Um, but yeah, so that was fun. I would say it was worth it for sure. I mean, I like going to Toronto anyway. But what made the trip? Oh, by the way, so I bought this shirt. Um,
Yeah.
Tiny little problem, you might say. You wouldn't even notice it unless I
Oh, it's
pointed it
that
out.
shirt.
But once I do point it out, you'll never stop noticing it. It has this little thing that pokes up right there. See that? I don't know what that is. It's like the way it's sewn.
Yeah, it was just a one in a million
I'm
factory
like a
defect, and he
Bowser.
just he, he just managed to get that one shirt.
Yeah. I even went as far to say, "Can
Mm-mm-mm.
I look at the shirt?" And they were like, "Yeah." And they took it and they unfolded it for me and stuff, but I would never
I mean, how
notice
else
that
would you
because
know?
that's where they're holding it from. So, it's annoying. I assume it could probably be fixed if you knew what you were doing and you went at it like underneath of it. I looked at it. I don't see anything that looks abnormal, but
It's
obviously
beyond your
there is
area
maybe
of
it's too much
expertise.
material bunched up in there or something. I don't know. It's annoying. Oh, and it was a cash-free establishment. So I'm in a different country, right? So of course I I exchange my money to get Canadian money, and it doesn't matter because they were cash free, right? And I'm like, well, I don't have enough money left on my debit card. I took almost all of it off for this cash. And they're like, well, just a hint for the future. If you see any event that says it's a Ticketmaster event, they're cashless. And I'm like, thanks. That's good to know for the
Yeah,
future.
that's shady as fuck.
So, yeah. And so literally I'm like, well, I'm just like shit out of luck, I guess, right? What I ended up doing was I got out of the line and I walked around and I found like the first like nice looking people I could. It was a family. And I said, "Hey guys, this is gonna
Can we
seem
do a little
weird."
back alley
I'm like
transaction?
over it, like talking to them through the barricade. So it looks like I'm an asshole that doesn't want to wait in the line, even though I already just did. Um, I'm like, if I give you cash right now, I'll give you it first. Can you buy that shirt up there for me? And they're looking at me like I'm insane. And I'm like, it's
You are, but
cashless. I only have cash. I mean, I have my debit card, but it doesn't have enough money on it and they're like, "Oh, okay, we got it. We got it. We got it. Okay, what is it?" And so then they did it for me, which was nice. And I even gave them an extra $5 for it, just doing it for me. And they gave me the $5 back. And I said,
Oh, that's
no, no,
nice.
this is for you. And they're like, no, 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 no. And they gave it back to me. Canadians,
Are traditionally much nicer than us.
traditionally, yeah, they're traditionally nice. And they did not disappoint that family. So that was very much
Very good.
appreciated. That's why I got this damaged shirt. But
Comes with a story and a memory.
nothing is more damaged than the shirt I bought on the
Your
way
psyche.
out. Because yeah, my psyche. Um, this lady was sitting on the ground saying, "You want to buy t-shirts?" And she had a garbage bag of t-shirts, right? So she sold counterfeit t-shirts and she gets kicked out of all these events. She comes to all of them, I guess. I don't know. I had to talk to her for a prolonged period of time because I was like, "Do you have extra large?" And she was like, "Oh no, my son has to run and go get it." And so he was gone for every bit of 30 minutes. So I'm standing next to this lady just like bullshitting with her. And she was telling me how security came up to her and already took almost all her shirts away from her and all this kind of stuff. And um, what really sold me on it was that the shirt looked good, it felt like quality, and it was only 20 bucks. 20 bucks Canadian, so that's 15
Yeah, it's pretty
bucks
cheap.
American. Super cheap. This
It
this
was
was
like
50.
40. Well, okay,
So
so yeah, Canada 50.
40
Sure, sure.
American, but 50 Canadian. I washed this thing one time, and I'll
It's
show
already
you what
falling
happened to
apart.
it. Ironically, the back looks fine. And when I wash these kind of things, I flip them inside out. And yeah, that looks nice. And again, very quality, thick, nice, smells good.
Oh God.
Isn't that insane?
It's gonna look like a vintage Hot Topic shirt after one more wash.
Yes. Yes, it's all cracky looking. I mean, it's like literally like it's just started wiping away.
Like one could argue in its current state that looks pretty nice, pretty weathered, but when you consider that it was brand new, right? Washed once and that's the result, it really
Yeah.
changes, It's all about perspective, right?
I wore it once as a work shirt just under because it's almost like the Henry Cavill Superman shirt where it's the design is way too low on it. Because you see this is up high. It's
It
good. That's
always
how a
comes
shirt
back to
should be.
Superman.
I guess bootleg shirts don't have that ability, so it fell
It's
below
printed
my
off center.
so it worked for a work shirt. And so I had my actual collared shirt off. I was at Meyer the night that I wore this, and this lady comes up to me and she goes, "Oh my God, were you at that show?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then
You
it went
bet your
into this
ass I was,
entire
yeah.
conversation about Oasis and how it's her favorite band too. And so, Oasis brings people
And then
together.
you got married and you lived happily ever after.
Yeah. She was like 65 years old, but yep, but now we're married.
Perfect.
Um, yeah. So the last part, the cherry on top, which is the much quicker part, um, the concert alone, that would have been enough for the trip. That's all I was gonna do anyway.
Until,
And then I thought, you know what? I meant to go to Port Hope. Port Hope is where they filmed like 80% of it, chapter one and chapter two. And it was about an hour and a half drive away from where I was at. They always say Toronto. They filmed in Toronto. And it's like, okay, what they consider the GTA there, which is the greater Toronto area, like we say Metro Detroit,
sure.
we're not calling a city an hour and a half away Metro Detroit here,
No,
but they
no.
do. And it makes it real confusing. That's all I'm saying. Because they're just like, yeah, it's Toronto. What you consider Toronto is like the entire province of Ontario. I mean, it's insane. But whatever. So I went there immediately as soon as I passed into town, I'm like, yep, I feel it. Like I could see, I just felt it immediately. I'm like, this is it. I'm here. I'm in Derry, Maine, baby. And I saw the city hall, which is very notable, and the park, which is very notable, and the city hall became the library and the movies and whatever. It was a wonderful time. And I was just going around hitting the locations, possibly for a video. I don't know. Stay tuned. And I was trying to get my bearings straight, like where should I start and go from here and whatnot. I was using like two guides online that were helping me out. And I see this family that's walking around with one of these.
That's super
And
cool.
it's like, oh, it's like actual physical version of the locations and all of that kind of stuff. And and it's like, oh, that's cool. And where'd you get that? And he's like, oh, at an antique shop that's right over there. And I'm like, okay. And so I walked over there, and I could have walked in any of these stores because literally every single store in town has one of these on the counter, and they just give them out for free. I was like, hey, can I have one of these? And they're like, absolutely. And then I got into this like hour conversation with these two ladies at this antique shop, so that was hilarious. But um, but it was a really fun time. The only bad thing about it was that while I was there, I was like, I wonder where this location is, and this one, because those aren't in town. And I started looking around all over the GTA at all these locations, and I've now become obsessed with going to the mall. And I went to as many as I could once I left there, but nightfall was coming, and also I had to get home. And so I hit like one on the way back. I wanted to do more, but I spent so much time in this town, which was awesome. Absolutely fantastic. I would do it again in a
Yeah, he's
heartbeat.
going back next month.
Yeah, no, there's just so much more to go to. I stayed in Mississauga. It turned out the Chinese restaurant from the second movie,
2 minutes away. Go
two
fuck
minutes
yourself.
away, but I didn't know it. I didn't know it. Mm-mm. Now I
The first
hate
location he's
myself.
going back to.
So it's one of the things I'm going back for, as well as just many, many other things. But yeah, that's pretty good. Waish fact of the day. This right here, that says welcome to Derry. That's CGI, actually.
You can't even tell.
You
Is it
can't.
CGI,
It
AI?
looks completely legit. And I wondered why is that CGI? It didn't make sense to me because they did everything else, like they painted it and stuff. You can see it there behind them. Um, like why didn't they just paint it? How hard would that have been? Well, it would have been very hard because there's actually a set of two windows that's right there in the middle where that would be.
You'll see in the video.
You will see in the video. So yeah, that would not have been possible. And it's like, oh well, that makes sense then.
Movie magic, special
And
features, if you will.
it was a lot of fun though. Good time, good time.
Very, very good.